things. So welcome, Pierre-Andre. Thank you for joining us today, and I can see your slides up are all ready to go. So without further ado, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are joining us. Yes, as mentioned, you've seen the title. It's all about no code in this couple of slides of presentations, followed by some demonstration of a couple of use cases. For those who do not know Cherwell, we've been around for about over 12 years. We have over 2,000 satisfied customers, and these customers are in all sizes and industries. So it starts with 100,000 plus employees, and it goes down to a couple of thousand employees in all sectors, being it healthcare, being it higher education, government, manufacturing, and many other industries. Beside these satisfied customers, we also have a good accolade from respective analysts. 4 of them are listed here on the slide. Forrester seeing us as one of the enterprise service management leaders, IDC seeing us a leader in the IT service management space, Ovum in the ESM space, and Gartner seeing us a challenger in the IT service management quadrant. But as you will see, this platform will be looked at in this session from an ITSM perspective, but as you can see on this slide already, it is an ESM, enterprise service management story that it's all about. So the roadmap we provide, and this transformation roadmap we provide to most of our customers, often starts in IT, with classic IT service management capabilities to modernize either legacy or all the solutions that have become too complex and too complicated to maintain. But the journey, the ITSM is just the first step of the journey. ITSM can be extended, can be combined with IT operation management, with IT business management around project portfolio, demand management, release management, and so on. And also a number of other IT applications that you can build on top of this platform, and we'll show you some examples in order to get some additional capability. And this is then just the beginning of the next step of the journey around enterprise service management, meaning applying and copy-pasting some ideas that we know out of the ITSM world into other areas, such as an area like security. Think about security incident management, vulnerability remediation, governance, risk, and compliance. But then also to some other departments that are far further from IT, such as HR, such as facilities, or such as customer service management, external customer service management. So how do we provide this? Well, the whole magic of the Cherwell platform lies in the platform as such. The platform is built out of one mold and contains all the necessary components in order to provide the omni-channel system of engagement, in order to provide all these experiences we need the end users as well as the administrators to have. So this means portal, collaboration, integration, virtual agent, knowledge management, and the whole thing, of course, on a desktop experience as well as on a mobile experience. So this is the whole contact components, the engagement components. Beside the engagement components, then it's important to have an automation engine, a unique automation engine that covers all the aspects of automation, being, first of all, the end-to-end aspect of automation. I mean, we're not looking at automation just around IT. If we look at onboarding an employee, this will have an impact in IT, in HR, in facilities, and maybe in other departments as well. So we need to look at automation from an end-to-end perspective, and also look at different flavors of automation. People-to-people type of automation, we would rather call these workflows where I request something, my manager approves it, and a third person execute the fulfillment of my request. Or people-to-machine type of automations. For example, when I request a cloud environment to be provisioned for a training that is happening tomorrow, or for a demonstration that is happening in 2 weeks. And then, of course, also the machine-to-machine type of automation for diagnosis, triage, AI ops analysis, and further type of automations that we need in our daily operations. Now, no automated workflow would work without having a very agile capability of integrating yourself into your IT ecosystem. So it's important there to have some simple integration capabilities, simple to use integration capabilities, but that allow you complex integrations. So this can start with more simple mechanisms like webhooks, web services, RESTful API, but it is also equipped with an integration platform as a service approach in order to have our customers only consuming an integration instead of having to worry about the creation and maintenance of a particular integration. Anyhow, whatever workflow we do, we're not doing it in isolation, so integration will be a key part. And integration into the core business systems, the SAPs, the Salesforce, the Workdays of this world, but also integration into all the operating systems, such as security systems, IoT platforms, application performance, and other type of systems we might find in the ecosystem. And finally, as a fourth component in the platform, we find all the analytics. I mean, all the necessary components and building blocks in order to get an insight, get an actionable insight of what is happening over the platform. So this looks at reporting when we look at more into the past, what happened over the last 2 weeks, but it also looks at real-time interactive dashboards of the existing system situation in the ecosystem. And it also provides predictive analytics in order to discover some trends, discover some anomalies, or to give us some prescriptions of what we should do in order to correct a particular bad trend and avoid getting into a negative situation tomorrow. Or what do I need to undertake over the next 2 weeks in order to reduce my backlog of 500 changes. So all these components are all the building blocks that are all part of the platform. And this platform has been built out of one mold, as I mentioned at the beginning. So it's not a patchwork of different technologies that are somehow glued together. No, it's all out of one mold, and it's also managed out of one mold when you think about upgrades. With all these building blocks, Cherwell has built a number of enterprise service management solutions, such as IT service management, information security service management, IT asset management and software asset management, project portfolio, facilities, HR, external customer service, and so on. So these are the content applications that run on top of this no-code platform. And then there are tons of extensions available through a store. Like you would know, the Android store or the Apple store, where you can just download different applications to extend the capabilities of ITSM or to extend the capabilities of HRSM and so on. But maybe one important point here is the capability of building your own applications on this entire platform. And we're going to see some examples right later in the demonstration. So if we summarize the high-level differentiation of the platform, it's built out of one mold. It's not a technology patchwork. It is managed also in one mold to simplify upgrades and to basically to eliminate any concern around upgrades. It can be consumed in the cloud as a SaaS service or on premises, or even in a hybrid mode where you might have your development environment on premises and the production environment in the cloud. It is completely no code, and this will be the topic of this session. And it has a couple of specific commercial considerations, meaning that it is based on a concurrent user licensing model. And the users we need to license are only the fulfillers. I mean, people working on an incident, people working on an HR case, people working on analysis and transformation of data. So these are the only people that need to be licensed, not the approvers, not the end users consuming services and so on. And as on top of this concurrent licensing and so on, be aware that this licensing is all inclusive of all disciplines. So it includes, whenever you have a license, it includes ITSM, but you could also activate HR, facilities, customer service, or whatever other components that you see here. As we mentioned, the low-code aspect is very important to differentiate. So many platforms in the past were pro-code platforms, meaning that you had to code in order to configure it, to adapt a portal, change a form, or whatever else. A lot of vendors have come up with a low-code approach in order to simplify the handling of platforms. People have developed some graphical ways of moving widgets on a portal, or graphical ways of defining workflows or defining charts or reports. But this is just a little help for the end user. But fundamentally, most of the platforms on the market are still pro code with certain low code approaches. While here with Cherwell, we're talking about an end-to-end true no-code approach. Everything is no-code. The entire configuration of forms, portals, widgets, dashboard, reports, languages and translations, everything is completely no-code. And this has a benefit because you will never end up in a situation where suddenly to do parameterization A, B, or C, you have to code, you have to have some special skills in JavaScript or whatever other language. No, forget about all this. Everything is graphically drawn, as we are going to show it right afterwards. And this has an extreme impact on time to market, meaning getting live with your ITSM platform, building new capabilities, new services, new applications on top of the platform, or even extending it beyond IT into HR, facilities, or whatever other discipline. So it's all around time to market being much faster and complexity being eliminated. So let's switch over to a demonstration. So we're not going to demonstrate everything around the ITIL processes and so on, but we are going to look specifically at these no-code capabilities. So what you see here is the default out-of-the-box portal that an IT end user would see, showing the service catalog, the items that I have opened, the support announcements, the top service requests that I might need, and of course also the service desk hours and knowledge articles. I mean, the capability of self-servicing throughout the entire IT portfolio. Now, if we go into the back end of the system, into the design studio, we see that from a design perspective and from an editing perspective, this portal looks exactly the same. We are here in the design studio with all the widgets on the left side that are placed on this particular board and arranged accordingly and put into the template and colors that we need for our corporate identity. We find exactly all the elements that we've seen before, the My Items widgets, the top service requests, the knowledge articles, the announcements, and everything. We find not only the desktop version of this experience in a completely graphical way, but we also see the mobile experience. So we have the possibility, element by element, pixel by pixel, to define what should be shown on a mobile experience. And as you will see here, you will note that knowledge management search is not placed on the mobile experience. This has a particular reason, just to show you that you can reduce the amount of information that you want to put on a mobile experience compared to the full desktop experience. So back to the full desktop experience, let's start editing a little bit. So for example, we're not happy with these yellow graphical widgets. These are pure graphical widgets. We'll delete them. We will free some real estate down here in order to put in some other widgets. So we're going to select these widgets here and delete them. We are going to select all these widgets around the service catalog and drag them down into the place that we freed up. We're going to resize this entire widget, and we're going to change the color of this widget because the future look and feel of the portal should be in the grays and yellows. So let's change the color into gray. And finally, we'll remove here this light blue background. Now, moving widgets, adding widgets to the portal and so on, this is something that you can see in other tools. But when it comes to defining new widgets, that's where many people start having to code. Well, here, no. If I define a new widget, I get my form here. I get the fully, let's say, full graphical experience to define what it should be. For example, here, a jauge that should look at the table of incidents and that should display the information of average incident duration in days. Of course, behind these formulas and values and combination of data and rules of what kind of information you want to see here is completely unlimited. I just took a simple example here to define a widget, save it, and now we have it available in our widget database to drag and drop on the screen, resize, And we have not only a new look and feel, but also some new capabilities on these portals. We'll finalize the portal with a background image and maybe your corporate logo. So this is just an example to show you that everything is completely no code in building portals. And because of this, the end results that we see at our customers look anything that you can imagine. We see here two examples, one from a facility portal, more in the orange color tones, while the one on the right is more around the IT service management in the red color tones and with different information that we've just seen before. We've seen here a very simple kiosk type of portal that is used at Come and Go. These are petrol stations with little retail shops. So they needed a kiosk application because they don't have any desktop users and they don't expect their employees to use their mobile phone to do anything. So it's pure kiosk where you just touch screen on it. Or you would see here a typical type of enterprise service management portal, minimalized to the essential with just search around here, or maybe the possibility to talking to a virtual agent, because we see always more people not coming to portals, but interacting with either virtual agents or with collaboration tools like Slack or Teams. So at the end of the day, they never really reach the portal and they interact via virtual agents of either the native virtual agent or virtual agents of these collaboration tools. But it doesn't need to be an internal portal. It could also be an external portal. This is the portal of the city of Wichita, where basically they're using it for internal ITSM purposes as well. But the external usage of the portal is to give services to their citizens. They have about 300 to 400,000 citizens where they give all kinds of services ranging from traffic alerts, from infrastructure failures, from cultural program, and many more. So I just took a little ride on this, and I took a mobile ride on this website, and we'll show you here now how a citizen of the city can report a particular graffiti, that a public property has been spoiled by a graffiti. So typical mobile experience that you would see with any kind of application, reporting the location, maybe taking a photo of the graffiti, giving you the choice of if you want to stay anonymous or if you want to be known to the city, and then submitting your request. So you see the examples are really infinite of what you can do with these widgets and no-code capability to define portals. Now, it's not only for the portals. The person we're looking at here now is a IT service desk manager. And when this person logs into the platform, the first thing they see are the out-of-the-box dashboards. Okay, so this shows them what's going on in the environment from a global perspective, the specific work that Henry has in the pipe, the changes that are in the pipe. I mean, tons of dashboards showing all kind of very useful information. And these dashboards are interactive, as we will just see, meaning that you can filter them by time, by departments, by organizations. And of course, every time you click on one of these metrics, wherever they are, you get immediately brought down into the records. So this also is all defined in a completely no-code manner. So I switched over here to the Design Studio again, and we see exactly the same thing as before, the widgets on the left and the surface that we want to administer, where we place all our widgets and arrange them and get the information together that we need on these dashboards. Again, this is completely mobile friendly as well. So you can define element by element without being a Bootstrap expert, without being a CSS expert on how the mobile experience should be. In this case here, I've put in all the elements that I have also on the full desktop experience for this dashboard. Because there is enough real estate and it makes sense to have all this. Now, if we look at a couple of these widgets, like these numbers here, and we go into the details, well, we can see that it's a text. We can see that it looks at the incident table. We can see the criteria, anytime. We can see the values. It's the number of records that needs to be displayed. We can see the properties of the display. We can see many more graphical elements, and we can also see the exact behavior. What happens when you drill down on this widget? Well, it will go to the record list of all these incidents, or it could go and execute a function, or it could go to another dashboard and so on. So you see, it's exactly, we've seen it, the building of a widget before. It is exactly the same thing here with these existing widgets. Just drag and drop, configure them to your final needs. So you'll have all kind of widgets. If we look at that one up here, this is just about a filter around the creation time, or it could be a filter around the department or the geography of a particular location and so on. And if we look at this third widget here, well, we see that it is, again, this time it's a pie chart. And if we look at the details of what are behind these metrics, we see all the details around what type of information are we looking at. We're looking at the incident table, and the slicing of this chart is based on the assigned teams these incidents are desired for. So again, here, a very easy graphical drag and drop administration of any kind of experience, the portals, the dashboards. Basically, it's like building a PowerPoint presentation. It has similar functionalities, you know, to align objects, to increase the size of objects, to place them pixel perfect in a position on a dashboard. But this is not all. Think about the help desk analyst. I'll take the role of Henry again. I'll go into my portal, but this time I'll drill down into my incidents. We saw that when we click on this drill down, it shows the list of incidents, and I'm going to pick an incident form. Now here we see the incident form with the description of the incident, additional dynamic windows, and some actions in this piece of the area, and some other actions and additional windows, conditional windows, and so on. Now, also, this entire experience that you see here is completely defined in the no-code designer. So we'll switch over to the no-code experience, and here we see the incident form as we've seen it before. Again, it's nothing else than widgets around the fields. You see here all the table of the incident table, and you see all the command buttons and other elements that you can drag and drop onto this form. Again, it has exactly the same behavior for the mobile experience, putting everything here. And maybe we could eliminate certain elements, because I'm not sure that an agent will really look at this level of detail on an incident on his mobile phone. So again, full control of how things should appear on a mobile experience. Now let's have a look at a couple of these elements. We can see that it's exactly the same look and feel, same control. We see here what is behind it, what kind of validation is behind. We're looking at a source table, it's the caller source, and so on. Now imagine we want to add a field here in this section around the customer. We want the customer's department as well. So we will select all these elements here, drag them down a little bit, and then drag and drop this customer department element, and boom, we have a new element on the form without having any coding to do. And it's the same thing here for actions. If I look at this particular action here, basically this is just a menu line or a button, but behind this button there is a specific control. And this brings us to one of the most interesting piece of the Cherwell platform. It's the workflow engine, because basically behind each of these actions there are certain workflows. And this time we're looking at the take ownership workflow. So this guides you into the workflow editor, where you see whatever you need to see, meaning all the elements that you use in order to build a workflow. So we have seen graphically built workflow designers since a long time already. But every time you needed to parameterize something that needs to happen at a particular step, you were stuck with coding again and variables and whatever proprietary language. Now here, it's not only the fact that you define your workflow graphically with all the widgets that you have here, but all the parameterization of every single step throughout this workflow is completely codeless. See here what fields you want to use. It's the assigned team field, and it's going to set the value, and you had the choice here of the value in order to define what happens on step number 2, and the same thing for step number 3, and so on. So now let's use all this technology, because until now we've just looked at, you know, editing something that is already there from the out of the box capabilities. But it becomes more interesting if you start building your own applications from scratch, maybe. So in our little example here, we are going to build, by the way, here you see all the objects that we're using inside here, the incident object, the HR object, and so on. So what we're going to do here is create a new business object that is called demo form. And that's it for the moment. As of this moment, it automatically creates the necessary table behind it with all the, let's say, the functional out-of-the-box field that it needs in order to operate. And then I can start building my own fields inside there. So I'll make a little application to register visitors in the building. So the first field I'll need is a date field. I'll choose that it's a date and time format. The second field will be the first name of the visitor. This is just a free form text file with 100 characters long, maybe, or longer if you need it. A third field that we're going to add here is, for example, the visitor's last name. Again, it's a pure text file. Now, let's add some little bit more complicated fields here. We're going to take the gender of this visitor. And if we go into the details of this particular field, we will say, hey, it's not a free text field. This field is validated not from a table, but from a list. And I created a little list here with male, female, and something else. And basically, every time this field will be reached, it will have these choices through a pull-down menu. And I'll build a last field here. Who is the person that's visiting, to show you another option? Well, this time it's not based on a fixed list, but it's based on a table. And I can choose my table. I'm going to use the internal customer table, and I'm going to use the field full name in order to display who is this guest going to visit. From that moment on, I have all my fields deployed. I can save it, and I can start building a form. Automatically, the system will bring me up with a default form, and I can drag and drop all my elements into the production surface. I will then also add a little button from down here, because I want also the possibility to save all this. So I'll have a button. I'll rename this button as the save button. And then from that moment on, you have all the functionality. Then it's just a cosmetic aspect to realign all this, like you would do it in a PowerPoint presentation, maybe change the color slightly of the background, maybe change the size of all your windows. You select all the elements. I increase the size to 40 pixels, and I change the border to a light gray. And then I finally rearrange all these and make the background white. So within a couple of minutes, I have an entire new application that I can use in order to register visitors. So as you can see, it's a consistent way of working in this platform. It's consistent throughout all the disciplines, being the portal, the forms, the widgets, the dashboards, the workflows. And it allows people to really act in a pure no-code way, as we've seen it in the slide before entering the demonstration. And it's not just some elements of low-code approaches for certain capabilities. You are here completely free to do whatever you want on this platform. So this is why also, if we look at our customers, they've been leveraging the out-of-the-box capabilities, such as IT service management, or even the other IT extensions like project portfolio management or security management. They've been using HR service management, you know, all the out-of-the-box capabilities, and adapted it to their particular needs, either from a cosmetic point of view, but also from a workflow point of view. Customer A has a 5-step approval for a loan in the HR benefits sections, while customer B has just a 2-step approval, or, you know, the workflows will change from one company to another. But what we've also seen is that people reuse existing building blocks. You know, the workflow to onboard or offboard an employee that you see here can be reused for other purposes. So a healthcare institution came here and said, hey, wait a minute, when we onboard and offboard a patient in a hospital, it has a very similar workflow. So let's copy paste this existing building block that we have in the system, transform it, and readapt it to the use case of onboarding a patient in a hospital. Or another guy said, no, I'm not in the healthcare business. I'm a retailer, a big drink manufacturer, and I need to onboard and offboard distributors in order to, work more efficiently in the respective European countries. Well, here again, they looked at the stuff and say, hey, wait a minute, this is a reusable process, or the transition process, or, you know, whatever kind of concepts that you have here around in customer service management around the products and services that you're offering, the onboarding of distributors, of vendors, the onboarding of partners. I mean, these are all some, just reused applications in other use cases in other industries. And then there are, of course, the other type of customers who then went even further, who just built some applications from scratch around marketing, around finance, to offer services through this platform to all the departments of a particular enterprise. So you see here, it's a journey that might start in IT with typical IT service management capabilities. But if we look at all our 2,000 plus customers, 70% of them are using Cherwell in IT, but as well for non-IT processes. And this can range, I mean, this list that you see on the screen here could be indefinitely long. So with this, I hope we gave you a little short overview of the capabilities. Thank you very much for your attention, and we could take some questions.
Thank you, Pierre. That was very comprehensive. Some good stuff there around, again, we've looked at automation, agility, integration, and obviously the omni-channel stuff that you've mentioned too, and some of that real-time predictive analytics too. Now we've just run over, right? But I've got a question that I'll probably bring up in the panel in relation to drag and drop, right? So we'll address that then, I think. Perfect. So thank you for that. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to end this broadcast here and get ready for the next one. Same thing as we've seen all day, really. That'll take a couple of minutes. So if you could bear with us and just refresh your browser as you come back in, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Thank you.